Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anza Saqib. Welcome to yet another episode of Rendezvous with Anza Saqib on CxO Global TV. CxO Global Forum is a knowledge sharing platform for all C levels across Pakistan and the globe. We take pride in contributing to the knowledge economy. We have been interviewing a lot of our members who are really the movers and shakers of the corporate industry. And these are people who are thought leaders, who are influencers, who've made their contributions and learned a lot along the way. And they're here with us every week, every day, and willing to share something or the other that will add to our knowledge and information. Today, we've got someone very special with a lot of experience in the corporate industry in Pakistan and even in the South Asian region. Mr. Umer Ghumman is with us. He's the head of mobile business for the AFPAC region for Samsung mobiles. And we're very excited to speak to him. Thank you so much, Umar, for taking out some time for us today on a Sunday.
My pleasure.
So,
My
thank you.
pleasure.
And I'm sure the audiences are really looking forward to learning from your journey and your experience. Umar Saab, the first thing that comes to mind is that how has your journey been so far? Where did you go to school? Where did you grow up? What courses did you study? How did you get into the line of work that you did? So, from let's say, from like being into business development and B2B sales to now heading such a big brand for two major countries. So, how did you end up here?
Yeah, it has been a very interesting journey. Thank you so much for a very kind introduction. I've been in the industry for the last 25 years. I have, I've been working for Samsung as head of mobile phone business for Pakistan and Afghanistan for the last 4+ years. And before that, I've worked for Tetra Pak for 17 years, where I had a 360-degree experience of sales, marketing, B2B, B2C, environment, communication, all sort of things. And I just grew as a professional and traveled to more than 25, 30 countries in
Wow.
those at a very young age. So it actually gave me a lot of exposure. And before that, I can't forget the contribution of the communication industry in my initial introduction of the world. Basically, I worked for two major advertising agencies before joining Tetra Pak. That was Low Lintus and Partners, which is Lintus, or Rauf Lintus nowadays. Before that, I started off my job after my first MBA about 25 years back at Ori McCann Erickson. So that was
Right.
the organization which actually gave me a break.
Right.
So
Absolutely. Sorry, go on. Yeah.
yeah, so the journey has been pretty interesting. So first of all, getting accepted into the industry in the right organization was definitely a luck factor. And then finding the right and the wrong mentors on the course during the course of your professional development. So I have in my 25 years reaching this far, there I have made 95% of the times mistakes. So if I travel back in time, I would never want to change any of that. So I've been in a position where I was about to be kicked out of the organization multiple times because of lack of
Wow.
experience. Yeah, lack of experience and getting a success at a very early stage in the career. I think that's a very dangerous path to walk on when you are very young and then you get a promotion and you become head of business. So I'm head of business now overall, but I was head of department at one point in time when I was only 31 years old, and that's where I started becoming arrogant and made a lot of mistakes in my life. And the life teaches you the hard way. It doesn't teach you in a very soft way. So no. And I also realized in Urdu में कहते हैं ना आप ऐश या तैश में आपका पता चल जाता है आपका character भी और दूसरों का भी. So when you fall, you know who is your friend, who is not. So this has actually made me a lot more humble because now I don't get flattered easily because now I know it's not me, it's the position which they are saying salam to. So
Yes.
and I've become even more professional over the course of time. Yeah.
That's lovely. What an inspiring thing to start your interview from. I was reading this quote yesterday by John Maxwell, and they said that the difference between average people and achieving people is their perception and their response of failure. So, I think you're a living example of that. And what an inspiring journey, I must say. So coming back to the fact that you have been working in the industry for mashallah more than 2 decades and almost 3 decades, and so you've really seen the evolution of big companies in Pakistan. How have you seen the corporate landscape change within these past 2 3 decades?
Yeah, this has been a very drastic change, and I generally tell the kids who are just coming, new kids on the block, and I tell them, you would probably never experience what we have experienced. I remember when I started working for the advertising agency, we used to get uh, we used to get the artworks, and they used to be on the manual pasting, and I did not have the fancy cars. It is only just a recent phenomenon, 10, 15 years back. But before that, I used to have motorbikes, so I used to carry the designs on my motorbike to Nestle's office, and I would show them that this is the design, and they would say rejected. And there was no email contact. There was you would take 2 or 3 examples, and the brand managers and the marketing managers, they were also in the evolutionary phase of understanding the marketing and the communication themselves. So people did not have the guts in the previous days that they would say, okay, this is what I understand, and this is right or wrong. And a lot of people say, okay, we'll have an internal discussion, we'll get back to you, but they would not have their own opinion. So the skill set was also very basic, as well as because we were not exposed to enough information. Internet was not booming that much. It was at the very, very beginning stage of its own, and people did not have enough knowledge. And there was a lot of class difference between a good business school and the lower category business schools. So all these things have changed quite a lot, because the access to the information due to internet has gone so far that any kid sitting at home can be as knowledge savvy as any kid from the other great business schools. You can just go to TED Talks and watch some great psychologists, and like these forums. With 25 years of experience, I can talk about a little bit what I've learned, but I can learn a lot from this forum from the other big guns you. So this information was not available at all. People, if you just go and ask anyone, यार आप brand management में काम करते हैं इतनी जिंदगी, आप मुझे कुछ बताएं ना brand management के बारे में, and a lot of people would say, oh, यार तुम्हें समझ नहीं आएगी, this is not easy. Probably I now remember asking these questions and getting these kind of answers. Probably people did not know their stuff. Now people know their stuff. I think the quality of people has really, really improved. Now, digital, non-digital to the digital world has been phenomenal. So now internet, WhatsApp, name a thing in a minute or 2 minutes. You don't have to really go to the client, and you can basically get the stuff. And you have one meeting probably a week. Instead, we used to have everyday meeting, and we used to waste a lot of time.
Yeah.
And we used to not have the mobile phones. So I would wait for the client's call, sitting in the office, landline के पर इंतजार करें कि जब भी कोई call आ जाएगी. And the best guy would be who would receive the call and say, "Sir, मैं available हूँ. हाँ जी, आज मैं भी आ जाता हूँ." 8 o'clock, you get a call, and you're there, and you just boom, reach the client, get a brief, and come back. And then now it's get a call, video call, design दिखाए, नहीं पसंद आया, ये तो design हो गया. Communication, TV ads, digital campaigns, everything. The whole marketing plan can be presented digitally, which was unthinkable a long time. Even a couple of years back. Now the things have improved like multifolds.
Absolutely. This is definitely something very important that you brought to light. However, you are an alumni of the prestigious, LUMS. And a lot of times, these days we've got a very different scenario, that very different narrative that's being brought out into the world, saying that it's not your degree at the end of the day that matters, it's your skill set. and it's the kind of experience that you've had. How far would you accredit your success to belonging to your alma mater?
I tell you, I have both of the experiences. So I did my first MBA from University of Central Punjab about
Okay.
25 years back. And
Yeah.
then in the midway during my career, about 10 years back, I reinvented myself and went to LUMS. And I tell you what, I'm going to be always thankful to my previous business school for giving me the opportunity. And that's where I got the headway in the corporate world. But yes, a bigger name of the university for the Harvards and the LUMS of this world, it does matter in the world, and it
Okay.
matters for the right reasons. It matters for the right reasons. Reason being that you have to go through a certain rigorous program for 2 years to be able to earn a certain respect that the institution already carries in the market.
Right.
So it tells you how to think in a different way. It tells you how to challenge yourself. I generally call it a 30-second window. A 30-second window means in the class, if you're prepared and you go into the class, it lumps. I'm sure it is happening at other business schools as well. But in the first, 50% of your grade depends on your class participation. If you're unable to impress the teacher in the first 30 seconds, you're not going to get the next 30 seconds. And if you don't do that, means that you have not been able to sum up your point of view in less than 30 seconds, you are gone, and the mic is going to go to someone else. So this now, imagine the same analogy in your corporate world. You get a chance to speak. Somebody says, "Okay, Umar, please tell me what's your point of view." And if I'm able to explain it in the first 30 seconds, I'm fine. If I'm not, then the people would say he's not confident enough to move forward. So it happens in the big organizations where the CEOs and the MDs, the board of directors are sitting, and if you're unable to explain yourself, so a bigger business school or a well-reputed business school through a case study method, I personally feel equips you with a certain kind of a talent to be able to express yourself, communicate yourself in a less time with more effective words, and which means that it also prepares you to prepare yourself for the meeting. If it is a say about a 5 minutes presentation, you prepare for 10 hours. This is
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
preparatory part. You just cannot say that I'm from LUMS and I can, I have a business meeting every Friday. I need to know every nut and bolt of my business, although I'm head of business. But I prepare for 3 hours for a 5 to 10 minutes business rundown every week. And I live my work every day, but still I prepare for the Friday meeting. And this is what I acquired from LUMS. There's no shame in
Right.
preparation.
There's no shame in preparation. Definitely, beautifully said. But for those of us who don't really have the privilege, or a lot of Pakistanis, a lot of young aspiring entrepreneurs, for that matter, do not have that luxury. And for them, I think CXO Forum and forums like CXO Global do provide a lot of opportunities to learn from domain experts like yourself. So, speaking of your experience, and since you've been into sales and business development and marketing and creating the right kind of narrative for a polarized market like Pakistan, and I'm sure you face this with because you're working at Samsung or even Afghanistan for that matter, they're very polarized, the market. So it'll be very different to pitch something to the end consumer than pitching it to a business. How do you formulate the right kind of narrative?
You know what? As I generally tell my team that there's a very famous and a very strange line I heard from some Indian industry. The only thing which sells is entertainment, entertainment, and entertainment.
Entertainment, right?
So I've not watched the movie, by the way, but I just saw someone sending that clip.
Yeah.
So entertainment does work, and you need to speak to the people which matters to them, but this does not mean that you give them all the wrong things. So as marketeers and as business professionals, we have a lot of responsibility. For example, we just recently launched a campaign, and my brief to this is like awesome campaign that we launched in Pakistan. One of my briefs to my team was that you need to give a purpose to the young generation. So you give them dreams, you make them, inspire them to aspire, and that's where the direction comes in. So yes, you may say we are polarized, but if you just give them in the tone or manner which they like, but with the right objective, so make them think big, and there is no harm in dreaming big. I tell you an example. When I was a middle class guy, started off my career coming from not a very humble, but a middle class background, coming to and starting off as a very very basic executive position at the advertising agency. I got my first passport, and I looked at the passport and I said, "तुम देखना भाई के यहाँ पे passport पे वीजे लगे होंगे."
वीजे लगे होंगे.
America, England, Europe, and everyone started laughing at me. I was very young. It was 1996, 1997, June, when I got my first passport. And everyone was laughing at me, "Hey, Umar, just stop dreaming." And I tell you what, in less than 7 years from there onwards, I had already traveled to more than 15 countries
Mashallah.
because I was dreaming big. I did not say that I cannot go further. Yes, for those kids who are listening and watching to me, it's not if you have had maybe a second tier university at that point in time. If you had that university, never stop dreaming big. And I think because of UCP, I got my LUMS degree. Because of UCP, I got into Tetra Pak. Because of UCP, I got my recognition. And because of LUMS, I got to the next level, which is a country head. Maybe I become a CEO someday of some organization, and I still feel that I don't have any doubts that I won't be, because I am dreaming big. So that's how I'm thinking. So yeah, it works.
And you must think positive. Talking a little about, because you've had all this international exposure as well and working with big brands, how is the industry different from country to country? And are there some local cultures and values and principles and ethics that you need to adapt before, branching off into a new market or launching a new product?
We have started becoming very liberal, more global, and boundaries have been removed because of this digital world. So a lot of things have started getting accepted because of the media. So people have become slightly more broad-minded, and people do tend to talk. So I see a lot of positive change in the society, other than the negative changes, where a lot of kids are unable to sleep in the night. And the executives, they are up till 2 a.m. and they very proudly say that I'm up. And on the other hand, there are a few who are able to become a lifelong learner, and those who have basically started reading books because of the digital media. So the industry all over the world has come closer. So I would say it's more of an open borders for the world, and knowledge is not a limited commodity. It has become very widely available now. Our job is to make sure, as the consumers of that knowledge, we need to decipher which information is right and which is not for us. That's where you need a lot of guidance from the ones
Meera, do you think that's possible, where we have so much information available in the internet?
Yeah.
Do you think it's
It
possible?
is.
How does one determine?
Absolutely, it is possible. I think this is the skill everyone, including myself, needs to acquire. We need to be able to identify, okay, the ones who are going to be successful from here onwards are going to be the ones who's going to be able to actually get the coaching from the right people, from the industry leaders, and should be able to decipher which knowledge to go after and which not to go after. So, and it's very basic. And I'll tell you a very basic key for everyone to learn. If you know the purpose of your life, and if you know what actions would you take to achieve those purpose of life, and the information that you're looking for is going to come right in front of your eyes. I'm just reading a book, Limitless, nowadays, and it's just like,
I've read it. It's brilliant.
Oh, this is a beautiful book. And I tell you one example, मैं आपको local example दे देता हूँ. आपको जनरली ये होता है कि हम कहते हैं जी पाकिस्तान में कुछ जापानी गाड़ी आनी शुरू हो गई थी कुछ अर्सा पहले, बहुत सारी इंपोर्ट आनी शुरू हो गई थी। अच्छा, आपने एक चीज नोट की होगी, विच एवर कार यू बाय, you and then you go on the road, you start look, when you look around आपको वही गाड़ियां नजर आनी शुरू हो जाती हैं।
Absolutely.
और 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 जब आप, क्योंकि और आम दिनों में आपको नजर नहीं आती। जैसे आपने फॉर एग्जांपल आपने कहा जी मैंने अभी ये पिकांटो एक नई गाड़ी आई है,
हाँ,
ये मैंने देखी और उसके बाद मैं जब रोड पे गया तो मुझे 10 पिकांटो नजर आनी शुरू हो गई। अच्छा,
perfect.
जिस दिन मैंने डिसीजन लिया था उससे पहले, रिसर्च से पहले मुझे एक भी पिकांटो नजर नहीं आती थी रोड के ऊपर। Actually, same like this in the information. When you're looking for something, it comes and pops up in front of your eyes. So, the opportunities to learn, opportunities to find the right things is always there, has always been there. It's you who needs to have the right kind of mindset. If you have the mindset to look for the right information which actually coincides with your purpose of your life, I am 200% sure you will be able to figure out what information to decipher out of it, and your life is going to be sorted and you'll have less clutter in terms of what to do, what not to do. But you need to know your direction, and direction comes from our purpose, which is not selfish, which is, for example, I want to build 1 million houses. I want to make sure that people around me are not, living, are starving. I want to make sure I impart the knowledge that I have. Now, when you say that, then you will not perhaps go on the entertainment website and start looking for the beautiful girls or beautiful boys on the internet. Rather, you would say, यार मेरे purpose के साथ ये match करता है कि नहीं करता? मैं self entertainment की बजाय मेरी entertainment lifelong learning होगी, which I start matching for the development of others. So I would say that it's possible.
Absolutely. And, we didn't keep track of time and we're already, running a little over time. But the conversation has been so fruitful. And thank you so much for sharing these insights with us. We're going to do another show with you. We would love to invite you to our weekly shows, the roundtables and the Global Thought Space, because I feel like there's so much more that you can contribute. So, Mirsad, thank you for your time. Towards the end, I would like to ask you, how has being a part of CxO Global impacted your personal and professional life?
Yeah, actually, I have joined this group with a purpose, and the purpose is, look, 25 years in industry, I've always been a lifelong learner, and whatever little success I've gotten is because I feel that I've been able to reinvent myself. Now, this is the time where I generally tell my team as well, and all the young kids, and the proper executives, that if we do not reinvent ourselves and with the changing global digital scene के अंदर, if we don't change ourselves accordingly, we are going to be redundant. Now I am just a kid playing with stones or rocks on the seashore of the digital world, and the only digital thing I know is DIGITIL, digital. So I
Great.
want to learn from this forum, and I keep on. I'm a very silent observer, and I'm just looking at what trends are catching up for the likes of cloud computing, coding,
Yeah, yes.
e-commerce, and all those things which I'm learning, because I personally feel that the kind of knowledge that we have acquired, which regular people would not have in couple of years time, because we know how to handle people, we know how to actually bring the best out of people, because a lot of young people will reach the top level at a very early stage and they will tumble the way I tumbled before. So if I am able to acquire additional knowledge for myself, I'm going to be able to guide my own kids, my son and my daughter, and many other young kids, and I'll be able to reinvent myself and add, say, about another 20 years to contribute into the organizations or into my life or into the other's life. So CxO Forum is helping me a great deal to to widen my horizons in terms of knowledge acquisition. So I'm looking forward to learn more, and maybe I'll start contributing a little bit more once I
Yes.
know really well about what digital world is all about.
Yeah, but thank you so much, Umer Saab. And just to reiterate, CxO Global Forum isn't just about things that are digital. We're going to have many more competencies where we have those AI and blockchain and cybersecurity and fintech and banking and HR. So a lot more to learn. We would love your contributions in the future as well. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. You've been a great audience. We look forward to meeting you next time. Once again, for any comments, please write to us. If you want to follow Mr. Umer Ghumman's journey, you can follow him on LinkedIn. Very much there. Thank you for your time and effort, and have a lovely weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Ansa. Take care.